Hello everyone, Tina from Tiana's Treasures here, and today I have for you September 2022's card kit of the month from Pink and Maine. Quick unboxing and then a quick card or two or three. I have no idea because I don't remember what's in here. Let's take a quick look and we will see. Ooh, we have some really pretty pink paper. And let's pull it out. As always, it comes with a nice little mesh bag, which is lovely. Get this out of the way. Let's see what color our cardstock is first. We have a lovely craft color, a tealish blue, orange, I'm sensing a fall theme here, yellow, plus I saw a little pumpkin. Oh, come on, yellow, yellow, yellow. We have a red, a green, and some ice rink. Ice rink? Yes, ice rink. That's what it's called, I believe. So, let's open this up and see. We'll look at our little recipe card first. Definitely fall. We have some leaves and a little flower and a pumpkin on there. And let's take a look. So we have some really, really pretty sequins. Love these. Just pull everything out. Some really fun sparkly glitter enamel dots. We have our little envelope seals. We have a stencil. It's got a little bit of a buffalo plaid here and a pumpkin and sunflower. I don't know if you could see that. And we have got a leaf embossing pad. That embossing folder, not an embossing pad. That looks like that could be fun. I got some ideas. And let's go ahead. You probably already saw the stamp set, but I'm going to turn it over anyway, just because I like to look at it last. And I didn't get a good look at it. Let's see what our paper's like here. We have kind of a chevron-y thing. Plaid, that's different. Zigzags, plaid and stripes, plaid and dots, plaid and more plaid, stripes. That's kind of cool. Like that a lot. That's nice too. Ooh, leaf. Love it. I'm liking all this paper. Got a houndstooth and a wood grain. Burlap. And I think this is where we start over again. Yes, it is. And yep. Okay. Now let's see what we have here. No dies? Usually we have dies. Huh. Okay, we have no dies this month. That's okay. We have a nice stamp with the pumpkin and the little sunflower. Happy anniversary. Best wishes. Hey pumpkin, autumn blessing. Happy fall. Thankful for your kindness. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. Celebrate every day. I cherish our friendship and congratulations on your achievement. Wonderful. That is really cool. So, wait, it says exclusive die set. Am I missing a die set? Or did I? I think I am. I might be missing a die set. I don't know. I will have to look back on their website and see. At any rate, I do know how to fussy cut until then. I have no idea what the die set might be. But this is our card kit. So, yay! I'm going to have to check in here. Anything? Nope, 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 nope. Okay, well, I will take a look, and I'm sure if there's supposed to be a die, that they will send it to me without a problem, because I am sure their customer service is just wonderful. Anyhow, let's make some cards. Okay, as you can see, I did get my dies. They sent them out promptly when I said they didn't come in. Now, the one die cuts out the pumpkin, and I'm going to use it to make a card with some pattern paper that also has a pumpkin. You can see I'm kind of going through it right now, trying to find it. There's the one the leaf die cuts out, and there's the pumpkin already colored for us, all nice and pretty. I got it cut out there, and I've also cut out the leaf. I'm going to use these on a card. I'm going to do two separate cards, one with the pumpkin, one with the leaf, and they turn out fabulous, if I do say so myself. So anyway, starting with the first card here, I am cutting down some of the orange pattern paper, orange plaid. It's really pretty. And we are going to use that on our card along with some of the blue cardstock that came in the kit. I'm not sure offhand what this blue cardstock is called, but it's in the kit, so I'm not sure if she's got it listed down or not, but I've got the card kit put away now, so I'm not going to go pulling it out to find the color. But it's a very pretty tealy blue. I love it. And so we're going to glue this to a top folding card base. And I've got these card bases cut out of 130-pound cardstock. I can't remember the name of it, so they're nice sturdy card bases. And they're A2 in size. All the cards I do today are A2, which is 5.5 by 4.25, but I'm sure you all know that already. So I've got our pattern paper glued down, and that's cut to 4 by 5.5, 5.25, giving us a nice little frame around our pattern paper. And I also cut, I think it's 2 inches or 2.5 inches, I'm not really sure, some blue dotted paper. And I'm going to take some ocean ink from Says Stamp, and I'm going to put it all around my pumpkin. Our pumpkin has like little dots around where it was cut out of the pattern paper, and so I want to kind of just cover that up a bit. Plus, I just like the way kind of framing it with a little bit of blue looks. And yes, my stripe going down the center of the card is 2 inches because I'm measuring it right now. So we get that blue ink all around the pumpkin, and it goes well with the frame and the card. So we're all just trying to pull everything together. And I've got my little stripe here. I'm going to glue down in the center, and then I've got a piece of pattern paper. It's the reverse side of the plaid, I believe, the orange plaid, and it's kind of almost looks an orange linen look is what it looks like. And I'm going to use the sentiment, "Thankful for your kindness," from the kit. And we're going to stamp that out with some black VersaFine ink. And then I'm going to use some clear Simon Says embossing powder over that. I like using the clear embossing powder over the black ink because then I don't have to worry so much about little stray bits of embossing powder getting all over the place. And the black or the clear embossing over the black ink looks pretty much the same as just using black embossing powder, but it's just so much easier. And because I forget to use my little powder brush a lot, I don't have to worry about those stray little bits of black embossing powder all over the place. So, you know, there's that. I always try to remember to use my embossing powder, but I would say it's a 50-50 thing. And if I can give myself little shortcuts, you know, you would think I could remember to use clear embossing powder, but no, I can't remember to use the powder tool. So, you know, it is what it is. But I do end up making this card nice and flat, so it'll go through the mail really nice. But I think the ink around the pumpkin adds some dimension. And I really like the way this card turned out. I probably could have put some enamel dots on it, but at the time, my mind was just elsewhere, and I didn't do it. So, that's card number 1. Now, moving on to card number 2, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my ink. I'm still using the VersaFine Onyx Black ink just because that's what I've got on my desk here, and I didn't see any reason not to use it. But I'm going to stamp it down, and I'm not really worrying about how it's stamping out for the simple fact that I'm going to be stenciling colors over the top of it. And so I just want your basic outline, and I'm going to leave the stamp in my MISTI because I'm going to come back when I'm done stamping or when I'm done coloring, and I'm going to restamp the outline. And so I just want the basic outline so I can line up the stencil with everything. Now, I originally just thought I was going to plop that stencil on and it was going to be easy, but I quickly realized that I had to line up different parts of the stencil and then mask off different areas so I didn't end up with an inky mess all over my card. And I just used some Post-it notes that I have on my desk, and I used those to make a quick mask of everything so I didn't have to worry about getting my ink all over the place because God knows I get ink everywhere anyway. I didn't need to help it by leaving my card wide open. So I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks because I wanted something that was going to go over the cardstock or the brown cardstock that I'm using, and this is in the kit, but I wanted to make sure that it covered up that craft cardstock. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, craft cardstock. So I started with some Crackling Campfire was the orange I used for the pumpkin, and now you can see I'm kind of getting my little sunflower in, you know, right lined up where it needs to be. These all lined up real easy. I think the biggest pain is just making sure you're masking off the areas, unless you're able to ink stuff up without going outside the lines. Then you don't need to mask it. And so for the yellow, I'm using the mustard seed. I debated going back over it with the squeezed lemonade, which might have been a little bit brighter yellow, but in the end, I can be a lazy crafter, and so I just thought, no, mustard seed works. We're going to leave it. And now I am lining up my leaves. I was a little surprised that they've got the leaves in two different spots. There's two different spots on the stencil that has leaves, so you have to do the one and then you have to move it to get the leaves on the other side of the pumpkin. And for this, I'm using Rustic Wilderness, which is a nice green, a nice deep green. And I thought it would look nice on the craft paper, and it does. And see here, you can see what I mean about having to have the leaf, you know, on two different sides of that stencil. But that's not a big deal. The leaves are one of the easier things to actually mask off and do on here. And so now we're just going to put the rest of that green. And then I need, the last thing I need to color in is going to be the center of the sunflower and the stem. And for that, I'm using gathered twigs. And I think that's just because that is like the first brown I kind of looked at when I was going through my browns. And I thought that one's not too dark. I didn't want something really dark like walnut. But I did want it to show up on this craft paper. So I think it was a good choice. And now I'm not sure if I lined up that center of the sunflower exactly. But I just kind of threw it down and it seemed to work. So why not? I didn't want to fiddle with it too much. And it's a little bit enough of an oval that it's not too bad to line up. And so now we're going to restamp this image. And I'm going to stamp right over the top of it again using the Versamark ink. Versafine. Anyway, black onyx. That's my favorite ink. I think I would use that all the time if I could. It doesn't work with every medium. It doesn't, you know, it's a pigment ink, so you don't want to use alcohol markers with it. But other than that, I use it quite often. And I am going to get that nice and put down on my pumpkin, and for once it didn't move in my Misty, which was a good thing. I noticed as I was messing with my Misty today, one of the hinges started to come out. Now this is an older Misty, and so, you know, for about 30 seconds I thought, that gives me an excuse to buy the new Misty, but no, I spend way too much on stuff that I really don't need. So this is some Harvest embossing powder that I haven't really used on anything else yet. I did swatch it out so I knew what it looked like. I bought this on eBay. I bought a bunch of embossing powders when I first started crafting. I thought I was going to use different colors a lot more than I actually do. But I thought it might go good on this card. It's got like some orange and browns in it, a little white, and some glitter. A lot of the glitter kind of flew off. You can see it when you tilt the card, though. I just think I would have used a little darker color in if I had to do it again, just so it would show up a little better on the card. But in real life, you can see it says Hey Pumpkin. The Hey is kind of hard to read, and I'm not sure if that's the embossing powder I used or because I pressed down a little bit too hard. I've been known to do that when I'm stamping. So here I am just with, we're using an orange background on this card, and I've got this one cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Actually, I think my last card I might have had cut to 3 3/4 the orange pattern paper, and to 5 by 5. I don't know if you care, but looking at the two of them, they do have two different size frames. So I'm cutting down the craft cardstock enough so it does, you know, allow my orange cardstock to show through. And I put a little bit of foam tape on the back of the craft cardstock to pop up this pumpkin just a little bit. And that's going to be it for card number 2. I do love the way that stencil allowed the ink just to sit on top of that cardstock. Now for card number 3, I took some of the pattern paper with that pumpkin design on it again, and I cut that down, and here I am though just taking a little bit of the pattern paper that you saw earlier, and I'm going to stamp out Happy Fall on that, and I'm going to heat emboss it. I was able to use just a small scrap of pattern paper because it is a small sentiment. And again, I am heat embossing it with some clear embossing powder. And I've got the pattern paper that's cut to 5 1/2 by 3 1/4. And we're just going to put that right in the middle. So we've only got the frame showing on two sides. And I'm just loving these colors of the orange and the teal, which is why you're seeing them repeat over and over in my cards, which I've got 5 cards, and everything is either orange, teal, or craft paper. So I didn't branch out into a whole lot of different colors, but I don't think I needed to. I think the only other colors I could have really used would have been orange or a brown, and the brown was the craft, so there's that. And now I glued that down flat, and I am popping up my little leaf right there in the center, and I'm popping up the sentiment in a little square, you know, happy fall right there. And I'm going to use the enamel dots finally. I'm finally remembered that, hey, I've got these enamel dots, and so we're going to start using them. I probably should have put them on the previous card, maybe for a little bling, but sometimes less is more. At least that's what I tell myself when I find that, you know, I'm too lazy to go back and finish it. So I've just kind of scattered these blue sparkle enamel dots all over the place, and I think they turn out really pretty. They do give it just enough sparkle, and I think with the pattern paper, with the pumpkins and the leaf, I think this is a pretty card. But then I think this whole kit is really pretty. So for this card here, I was originally just going to put this stripe down the center of the card. But once I started doing that, I didn't like the way it looked. It was uneven to me. I think if this stencil would have had 5 rows instead of just the 4 rows of this plaid, it would have looked better. And you'll see what I mean when I lift it up. I think the 1 row on the end, the one on the left, is just kind of sad looking. And see right there, I don't know, you can see it just doesn't look even. So I brought the stencil back and I start stenciling out the rest of this card. And I end up doing almost the entire card front. And then I cut it down so it'll fit on the card. See, then I could have probably cut it there, you know, and just had it going with my frame. But I thought, well, you know, in for what is it? In for a penny, there's a saying that it just escapes me at the moment. In for something, in for a pound. What's the first part of that saying? I don't know. In for a penny, in for a pound? That would be British, maybe. I'll have to look it up. God, I drive myself crazy sometimes. So I'm cutting off the last little bit of this, I'm cutting off part of the side here, and then I'm going to turn it around and cut off part of the side there. That doesn't, you know, I'm just cutting off part of this and part of that. But yeah, it's a little, it's not an exact measurement. I think it's a little more than 3 1/4 wide, and it is, what is it? I'm actually measuring for you. You should be impressed. As I'm looking at it, it's 4 and a little bit more than 4 3/4. So it was just kind of me eyeballing it. And I'm putting it on a piece of orange cardstock that I did cut down to 4 and 5 1/4, so I can get a little bit of a white frame this time. Well, it's actually not a white frame. If I want to be technical, it's a little bit of a cream colored card base I'm using on this card. And I don't know if I show myself, I must show myself, yeah, there, I was going to say, do I show myself gluing it down? I didn't remember. Because I thought there was a card where I forgot to show myself gluing the card base down. I think it might have been the last card, but it is glued to a card base. So this one, I did want a little bit of the frame showing because I used a cream colored card base. But it ended up looking white against the orange, so it didn't really matter, except it's not quite as stark white as a white card base would be. And so I'm just gluing my my nice plaid that we did with the stencil down, and I'm going to use the die cut thank you. And why I cut it out of blue first when instead of a color that was going to show up better, I don't know, but in the end it ended up working out because I used this this blue cardstock right here almost as the shadow. And now I'm bringing in some Simon Says stamp dot sheets. I love this stuff because you can apply it after you've already cut your die cuts, or you can apply it before. It doesn't, there's no law that says you have to do it my way. You could stick the whole thing on the back of a piece of paper, but this way I just peel it back and I put my little dies right on top of it, and you burnish it down and it picks up the adhesive. So it's really quite simple on these thin die cuts, and I love using it. And so now you can see what I mean is when I put the thank you down, it kind of gets lost in that background. Even in real life, it was kind of lost. And so I ended up deciding not to be lazy in this case, and I brought in some orange cardstock and I recut it, and you'll see me doing the same steps as I just did here to recut it and to burnish it down with some of the Simon Says dot paper. And I just kind of put it on top of the thank you with the original thank you there, just kind of being my shadow layer. And I think that works much better. And then I put a few orange enamel dots on this card. And I kind of call it done after that. So I hope everybody's having a fabulous October. I cannot believe it's October already. I say that every time I make a video. This year has flown by so quick. But I'm kind of looking forward to making some Halloween cards here shortly. My daughter's birthday's next week, and I got her card out in the mail already. So now that I've got this card kit taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make some Halloween cards. I'm not even sure I'm going to get to last month's Spellbinders kit now because I just have so much other stuff I want to get done. And I love that kit, and eventually I'm going to, pull it out. But I think that might be put on the back burner for now. If you really, really want to see that kit, let me know. And I can do some cards for it, but I've really got that Halloween itch. So I'm going to do a quick video, I think, coming up with my Halloween stash and some of the newer Halloween items I bought. And I'm going to make some cards. I don't know how many. I'm not going to make them based on all the Halloween stuff I've got, because I think I'm just going to do a little bit of freeform and mash a bunch of my items together. Tim Holtz with some Simon Says and some Doodlebug and different stuff like that. Of course, I don't think I'd ever match Tim Holtz with Doodlebug. I mean, that could be an interesting combination. We'll have to see. So for this card, I am doing a shaker. And I have to say, I love shaker cards, but this is one of the few shakers that everything worked just perfect for me the first time. I didn't have to pull something up and have, oh, it's too flat or whatever. It just, I remembered everything in the right order. I remembered to emboss my sentiment before I glued down things, and I just kind of impressed myself for a change. So I'm going to be using some vellum for the leaf itself, and I'm going to be cutting the leaf outline in this pattern paper here. And I was originally going to use this pattern paper on the first card, but I thought it was a little too busy. Or no, I was going to use it on the leaf card, and it was too busy for the leaf card. It just didn't work with the leaf, if that makes sense. But it made sense to me. So I'm stamping out Autumn Blessings on the bottom here. All these sentiments came in the kit. There's some really nice anniversary sentiments and different things. But I used all kind of generic ones, like Happy Fall, Hey Pumpkin, Autumn Blessings, and the thank you. 2 thank you cards. can always use thank you cards. So we're going to cut our little outline in the center right there. And I almost forgot I needed acetate. But you're going to see me pull that in at some point. So like I said, this card did come together and I ended up remembering everything I needed. So that was all good. So anyhow, if you're watching me all the way to the end, I love you all. And if you're not watching me to the end, you don't know that. So I can say, you should have watched me to the end because this is the best card of the bunch. But I don't care. I'm just glad you're here. And if you would love to do me a favor, it would help my channel immensely if you give me a thumbs up. Help me even more if you leave a comment. YouTube's always looking for that kind of thing. But I am so glad that you all were able to help me get over my 500 subscriber bump. Now onward to better things. We'll next goal, let's do 600, and from there we'll do 700, and we'll just push it till we get to 1,000, which I have faith in all of my subscribers. We'll get there. But if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you. But if you're just watching and don't subscribe, I'm still happy you're here, and I'm rambling again. So I put some double-sided tape. It's not the most even around. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to hold my acetate. And so I did end up using a little bit of tape runner because I did want to make sure I had plenty. And I had an old scrap of acetate that fit my little leaf outline perfectly. Now I'm using some Hefty Doodle tape. I think this is their thicker foam tape. It's skinny, but it's thick enough that it's almost made for like shaker cards. It's like 1/4 of an inch thick, and I think it's 5 millimeters. No, that can't be 5 millimeters. 3 millimeters thick and 5/4 millimeter wide. Yeah, that's what I want to say. And we are going to take it, and I'm just kind of do a rough outline. Now I took this piece that I'm doing the rough outline around the leaf. I took the backing off both sides because it's so much easier to just shape your foam tape if you take the backing off. And I got really lucky with these 2 foam pieces that I cut them out almost perfectly. I didn't have to clip any off or clip an extra 3rd little piece and squeeze it in there like I did on my sides. And I am just looking right here. I'm not putting it all the way down because, like I said, that one piece of the tape around the leaf doesn't have a cover. A cover doesn't have a backing, so it would stick without those my sequins in, and that would be bad. So these are some really pretty sequins that came with this month's kit, and I'm just trying to make sure I've got them in the right spot before I stick everything down. And even the placement of me sticking my panel down, it just, I actually got it in the right spot for once. So that was all good. And that just really nice. And now I'm taking the vellum and I'm going to pull out that same piece of Simon Says dot sheet again, and I'm going to put it all over the vellum. And that's going to keep the vellum from having any sort of adhesive that you see, because I just want a real light outline of the leaf. I want the sequins in the shaker to be the star. And I think they are. So when this goes down, you're going to see it's just, it's really nice. I was surprised at how nice the vellum on the acetate just works. And so that was the 5th card. Now here we go. We'll have a nice look at them all again. It's card number 1. And all the way to card number 5. And thank you so much. I am so glad I could bring these really fun cards to you. And anyhow, bye-bye for now.